Ferdinand was at QPR. At QPR, right? Got sold to QPR. At 34, John Terry wasn't even in the squad and he was getting binned for David Luiz.
Yeah, but hold on, you go on like saying that he's playing for QPR at 34, but who were in the Premier League.
Yeah, but
Rio Ferdinand was playing in the Premier League at the highest level when he was like 24. Van Dijk was playing for Southampton. And he was playing in Scotland. Like, come on, mate. You can't just go on the fact that he was 34 and Rio Ferdinand was at QPR.
Yeah, but Van Dijk's not English.
He's had like 10 years in the Premier League at the highest level.
Yeah, but you've got two English players who brought up in England playing for English football. Van Dijk's not English. You can't say he came through. Well, he came later on because he's not English.
Celtic.
How's he going to come over at some point?
No, I know, but you can't compare that.
Where do you think? Where did Salah come from?
Yeah, but you can't say that Rio was at QPR when he was 34. Like that's not an argument.
Well, you talk about longevity. So if he was a better player, he'd still be playing at the highest level. It comes to a point where you're not.
I don't think you can use that as an argument. Like, I don't think you can use that as an argument. Like you can't. You've got to go based off when Rio Ferdinand, when his time that he was playing in the Premier League, and the time he spent playing at the highest clubs and the best clubs. He done it for way longer than Van Dijk at a high level, for more years and at a better level. He won 6 Premier League titles.
So winning things defines you how good you are. We've seen players win a lot of trophies and medals, but are very average. Steven Gerrard didn't win the Premier League, but do you question Steven Gerrard? Because there's players out there who are more decorated as in that position than Steven Gerrard.
Well, a lot of people would. I wouldn't, but a lot of people would. But that's a different argument. Do you know, that's a different argument.
Oh. Listen, I just think you need to put more respect on Virgil van Dijk. I'm not being a Liverpool fan. I'm saying as a player, when I watch, when my eyes see things, my eyes see defenders, you need to respect Virgil van Dijk. If you look at both of the games, you tell me what's better. Terry, what can he do better than Van Dijk as a player? Forget about what they've won and how long they've been playing in the Premier League. What can John Terry do that is better than Virgil van Dijk? Because it's not one-on-one defending, for starters.
Oh, mate.
Oh, God. Let me get out of here.
Jermaine, what are you on about? John Terry can do everything Van Dijk can do. Everything.
I'm saying better, to be a better player.
I'm going to go to Jonathan as a Chelsea fan. Okay. Jonathan.
Oh, come on. Like a Chelsea fan's going to back me up.
Jonathan?
Hey, Jeremy O'Hara.
How are you, John?
I'm back.
Spurs are back.
Not too bad, man. How you guys doing?
I'm all right. You?
Good. I'm doing all right. I mean, what is at the Chelsea? What's Jeremy saying? Jeremy, what are you saying, bro? What are you saying?
Okay,
Look, I love listening to you. I've listened to you all the time, but this has really triggered me. It triggered me to call. I've not been calling. I'm a listener, but today I said I'd call and, speak something out. This is the first time you're always trying to compare John Terry, Chelsea legend, to Van Dijk. You can't make that comparison, bro.
Why?
You can't do that. Hold on. Let me get in there. Okay. Let me get in there. The last time I heard you made this comparison. You said you turned John Terry in and out, so that makes John Terry a West defender. You can't say that. I've seen many top defenders who top attackers have really made them start on their backside. It doesn't make them West defenders. But look, have you seen John Terry and Rio Ferdinand twerking for attackers? Have you ever seen that? Like you've seen lately from Van Dijk.
Well,
have you ever seen that?
I've seen it twice with Virgil. Seen it twice.
If you have any personal beef or personal problem with JT, let us know, because you can't keep on making this comparison. It's unacceptable, bro. I heard you. I understand you. You just closed that conversation between, Gerrard and the Soboslai. You were spot on, bro. But this, I think that you contradict yourself, bro. You have really contradicted yourself. That is not right. It's not a conversation for us to have between JT and Rio Ferdinand, trying to compare those two top defenders that have done it for many years in the Premier League with VV, Virgil Van Dijk. You can't do that, bro.
All right. Do you know what? You can ask probably one of the best strikers out there, right? Who would you rather face, John Terry or Virgil Van Dijk? Who would you rather face? I will bet you more times than not, they'll say, I'd rather face John Terry than go up against Virgil van Dijk. For me, as a defender, and that's what will make you a better defender. If they say to me, who would you want to go up against, Ashley Cole or, Leighton Baines? I would say all day long, Leighton Baines. Why? Because Ashley Cole's a better defender.
I want to say it's VVD because he's going to take his backside against me, and I know how to get it.
Yeah. All right, and try run past him and see how that works out. But come on.
I just want to give you some stats here, right? John Terry, 492 appearances in the Premier League, 41 goals, record for a defender. He's got 214 clean sheets to his name. Won the Premier League title 5 times. Van Dijk, 327 games, 27 goals he's got, and he's got 2 titles. Now I know that can mean irrelevant stats or whatever. You can say what you want.
Virgil van Dijk's playing alongside Joe Gomez at one point and Joe Matip.
What? Yeah, and Virgil van Dijk's playing against one striker. John Terry had to play against 4-4-2 strikers. He's playing against some of the best players in the world. Like, come on, mate. He's playing against Ruud van Nistelrooy, Robin van Persie. He's playing against like the best strikers that the Premier League's ever seen. Like, come on, mate. No. Van Dijk's playing it. The only decent player he comes up. The only decent striker that Van Dijk has to come up against is Haaland.
Who's in the top 5 strikers in the Premier League era? You'd probably say Haaland, 1. You'd say Sergio Aguero, 2. So you can't say, he's playing up against Van Nistelrooy, Thierry Henry, blah, blah. Van Dijk's coming up with the top 5 best strikers in the league as well. Haaland, Aguero.
All right, keep going.
I love the strikers.
Exactly. Come on. They played in a different era when there was a 4-4-2 system. Right?
Rooney.
Yeah, Rooney. Yeah. What?
I've named 3, and you've named Van Nistelrooy and Henry and Robert van Persie.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure if you asked him about Virgil van Dijk...
You can't tell me that Van Dijk, playing in the era that he plays in now, with the strikers he has to come up against, compared to what John Terry and Rio Ferdinand had to come up against, is a completely different level. It's a different level.
You understand the way they play as well. Van Dijk will be playing 30 yards up further the pitch, not sitting on the edge of the box in a 4-4-2. Like, come on. There's so many elements to the argument going, there was back in then they was playing against this player. You can't. That's not really an argument.
I'm going to go to Max. He's a Man City fan. All right, Max.
Right, boys.
Hello,
all right, Max. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, listen, you said a lot of valid points. I just think that a lot of people forget that these things happen in partnerships. So Van Dijk, wonderful player. Company gets forgotten about in these conversations, wonderful player. But as Jermaine said before, Van Dijk's had to deal with the calibre of defender of Matip, of Gomez. The Company had Demichelis. He had Stones at some point, and it's hard when you don't have a solid partnership. Terry had Cahill. Now, Cahill's not necessarily a world
Carvalho as well.
Together. Carvalho as well, right. Together, and Gallas, I think, even at the beginning.
Yeah.
But together, he could be the rock. He had a partnership. It's not like a striker, Haaland, Aguero, Rooney, whatever you want. They are themselves. When it comes to defenders, there's 2 centre-halves, and together they make the units. If you, as much as I hate it as a City fan, you ask most people, who are the top defenders in the league? I'll say Vidic and Ferdinand. I don't know if if individually they were better than Terry, but together they were absolute units. And when you came up against them individually, when obviously on the pitch together, they put the fear of God into you. So I think a lot of times with defenders, their attributes are brought out when they're in a solid, consistent partnership. Van Dijk struggled this season with Konate not always being there for him every week. So that's maybe where Jamie's coming from. And Jermaine's seen, how he is a quality player. And we all agree that he's a quality player. But when there's a partnership which is solid, like Company had with Stones towards the end of his career, then they really come out and the better player shines through. But defensive partnerships are what build those, I think, what build those legendary statuses.
I think he's spot on.
Well, Vincent Kompany's up there as well, by the way. He never really gets talked to. I think he gets an unfair bit of treatment because of how
Jamie,
how
that's
good
why
he was.
I've called in. He never gets called about, but he didn't have anyone like romantic next to him. Do you know what I mean? You're going to call Demichelis and Otamendi. There was a slight leak here, which brings out how good he was because he won a few leagues over 10 years. But it's that partnership together. And you can go back in history. I think, Gabriel and Saliba together, they're very young together. And individually, if they're in their own teams, I don't know if we'd know so much about them, but together they have a huge opportunity. If they do well the next decade, we've been talking about them for years. Not because individually Gabriel's better than John Terry or whatever. It's together they could be a unit. And I think that's what happens with defenders.
All right, Max, great call. Let's go to Aaron, who's a Luton fan at Azza.
Hello, bud.
All right, Az.
Yeah, not bad.
Would you want to throw a Luton player in there?
No.
There's one in there.
I've got a bit more football sense than that, to be fair.
Go on.
I think that Van Dijk don't even get near the top 6 or 7 Premier League all-time greatest defenders. And that's me as a Luton fan.
Go on.
And we play some rubbish football.
Go on. Can you name them? Can you give me 5?
Terry, Ferdinand, Vidic.
Yeah.
Adams. Sol Campbell.
Keep going.
We're laughing at.
Keep going. Let's go on. I'm with you. I'm 100% in right now.
You got Steve Bruce.
Steve Bruce.
He's having a wind up, man. He's having a wind up.
It's a bit of a stretch, Steve Bruce there, Az. I mean, you've got a bit rogue there, mate. You could have gone Vincent Kompany.
You might as well go Ali Hansen.
Vincent Kompany's up there.
Yeah.
Steve Bruce has won more Premier League titles than Virgil Van Dijk has.
It doesn't matter about how many titles you win.
So he makes a good point, mate. Good player, Steve Bruce.
You're just on it.
No, I'm just, listen, he's gone a bit rogue.
Okay.
He's gone a bit rogue.
But
listen, they're all great players. They're all great players.
You look at you put Virgil Van Dijk up against the like of Duncan Ferguson. Van Dijk wouldn't stand a chance. He'd get bullied.
I don't know about that. I'm sure it'll be a good tussle.
The last 5 to 8 years where he's been at Liverpool, you got tippy-tappy football. Every opportunity someone dribbles at him, he tackles them, but that art of the game's gone now. It's all 1-2 touch.
So every defender from now onwards is not good enough because it's tippy-tappy football.
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying.
Well, you said that about
Virgil.
I think it's easier to be a defender now. I think it is. You're playing against one striker.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
You're not playing it. You're not playing against your 4-4-2. You're not playing against world-class centre forwards in the Premier League.
You've got to be so much better on the ball now. It's not about to lump it down the line or for their forwards and wingers to chase onto it and get the second ball.
And lump it down the line.
You've got to be a lot better on the ball as well. So
Virgil Van Dijk a new one.
I wouldn't say Van Dijk is unbelievable on the ball. By the way.
Have you not seen those sprays where
he can hit a good diag. He hits a great diag. But he's no nonsense. And I'm not taking anything away from Van Dijk here. He's unbelievable. He's world class. But you're saying it, you're acting like he's like Maldini on the ball. He's no nonsense, Van Dijk.
No.
When it goes, it goes. When he hits a diag, it's a diag. He don't. He's not like Rio Ferdinand on the ball. He's not like John Terry on the ball. John Terry's a way better player on the ball.
Do you know what? I guess everyone's got the opinion. Is it who's Messi? Who's better? Ronaldo? People say Ronaldo. Some people say Messi.
But that's a fair argument.
Yeah, and I just think that as an individual defender, I just think Virgil Van Dijk is better than John Terry as an individual defender. Not partnerships that they would have strung up. Like people say, the best defender right now is Saliba and Gabriel in the Premier League because of their partnership and how they move together. But individual, I would say Virgil van Dijk. John Terry at Chelsea, that team was just rock. Not because of John Terry, because of the team, because of their partnership, the defence that they had, all from left back to right back to goalkeeper. It was solid.